Hello students, this is Jayapai speaking. In this class, let us study something about instrumental method of analysis in general and atomic absorption spectroscopy in particular. Under this, we are going to study principle, instrumentation, working and applications. In our previous class, we studied something similar, that is all about flame photometry. Moving on to atomic absorption spectroscopy, it is familiarly known as AAS. AAS is a method of determining the concentration of an element in the solution by measuring the amount of light absorbed by the element using a light radiation characteristic of the element under a test. So AAS is nothing but determining the concentration of an element in the solution by measuring the amount of light absorbed by the element using a light radiation characteristic of the element under a test. Now, every element has the characteristic absorption wavelength. For example, if you take sodium, it absorbs a characteristic wavelength that is 589 nanometer. Now, principle behind this, when a solution containing a sample element is aspirated into the flame, the following changes take place in the flame. First, the solvent gets completely evaporated, leaving behind the salt in the flame. Now, the salt absorbs thermal energy from the flame and goes to the vapor state. And in the vapor state, the salt undergoes dissociation to give constituent atoms. Now, some of the metal atoms formed in the flame absorb heat energy from the flame and get excited to their higher energy level. But most of the gaseous metal atoms remain in the ground state. So here, this part we have already studied, like some of the metal atoms absorb thermal energy from the flame and get excited to the higher energy states. But most of the gaseous atoms, they remain in the ground state. Now, these atoms which remain in the ground state, we are trying to excite by passing a radiation of a radiation characteristic of the element under a test. That is, I have already explained, it's in the case of sodium. If sodium is to be analyzed, means we have to pass a radiation of wavelength 589 nanometer through the flame containing the atoms in order to excite the most of the gaseous metal atoms present in the flame. Now, if light radiation characteristic of the element under test is passed to the flame containing atoms unexcited by the flame, that means the atoms remaining in the ground state. A part of the light will be absorbed by the atoms in the ground state, which in turn get excited to the higher energy states. Now, the extent of absorption, it is directly proportional to the number of atoms in the ground state, or in other words, it is directly proportional to the concentration of the solution. Therefore, by measuring the absorbance by using a suitable detector device, the concentration can be determined. Now, let us see the instrumentation part. Most of the things you have already studied in flame photometry. Let us see what are the similarities and differences here. Now, the sample solution that is containing the element under test is to be taken here, and this is the suction capillary of the instrument. It is connected to the nebulizer, and to the nebulizer compressed air is drawn inside. As a result, reduced pressure will be means at the tip of the suction capillary there will be reduced pressure. Hence, the solution gets sucked into the nebulizer. The solution gets mixed with the compressed air here, thereby forming a fine spray or fine mist containing tiny droplets. This fine mist, then it is let into the mixing chamber, and that fine mist or spray, it has to pass through the spoilers, and spoilers will block the bigger droplets of water, if any, and those bigger droplets will be drained out. So in the mixing chamber, fuel is also let inside. So solution, air and fuel together they get mixed up and they enter the burner, and through the burner it enters the flame. In the flame, all those changes which have already been explained take place. First, the solvent gets completely evaporated, leaving behind the salt in the flame. The salt then absorbs thermal energy from the flame and it goes to the vapor state. In the vapor state, again it absorbs some flame energy, and it gets dissociated into constituent atoms. These constituent atoms, some atoms will absorb energy from the flame and get excited to the higher energy state, and remaining the most of the atoms which are remaining in the ground state, they also absorb most of the atoms remaining in the ground state, we are trying to excite it, that is by passing a light radiation characteristic of the element under test. Suppose here sodium element is to be analyzed, means we have to pass a light radiation characteristic of the sodium element, say that is 589 nanometer. That light is produced by the hollow cathode lamp. For that light to be produced, we should have a cathode element here, made up of sodium. Which element we are analyzing, that element we have to take it as a cathode in the hollow cathode lamp. Sodium to be analyzed means cathode should be sodium. So that 589 nanometer which is produced by the hollow cathode lamp is passed through the flame. Then all the unexcited atoms present in the flame, they absorb this 589 nanometer and they get excited. The ground state atoms get excited to the higher energy state. Now the light that is coming out, that is called transmitted light. The transmitted light is focused on to the atomic, it is focused on to the monochromator. Monochromator actually isolates the different wavelengths present in the transmitted beam. The different wavelengths, that is from that the characteristic wavelength is to be isolated, that is done using a filter. That 589 nanometer characteristic wavelength is isolated by the filter, and then it is made to get received by the detector. Detector will give the response, that is analytical signal. Analytical signal is converted into electrical signal. Electrical signal is it is amplified and then it is processed in a signal processor, and finally the value gets displayed, that is in the data processor, that is nothing but absorption or absorbance. So all the absorbance readings they get displayed here, that is on the display, which can be understood by the user. I think most of the things you have already studied in flame photometry except that is hollow cathode lamp. More about this let us study in the next slide. Now instrumentation part includes the following components. You know that nebulizer part, it has already been explained. In the nebulizer, you know that air is sucked inside, and then this solution also will be sucked into the nebulizer. There it forms a fine mist or a spray, and then it is let into the mixing chamber. And then you have atomizer. Atomizer is nothing but a flame where the sample is subjected to atomization. This is acetylene oxygen flame. Here the salt from the solid state it goes to the vapor state, and in the vapor state it gets dissociated into atoms. And then light source, that is hollow cathode lamp, it produces a radiation characteristic of the element under test. If sodium is to be analyzed, then sodium vapor lamp is to be used. I told that in a cathode, hollow cathode lamp, cathode is to be element under test. Suppose sodium is to be analyzed, means cathode is to be taken as a, sodium is to be taken as a cathode, and anode is most of the times it is tungsten wire. Now these two are subjected to, they are connected to high voltage source, or some 300 to 500 voltage is applied across this cathode and anode. This lamp is totally filled with this chamber helium or argon, that is a noble gas, under reduced pressure. When voltage is applied across these electrodes, then ionization of the inert gas molecules, inert gas atoms take place, and these ions are accelerated towards the cathode, and these as a result sputtering of atoms takes place from the cathode. Sputtering means surface metal atoms get ejected from the surface, means atoms get ejected from the metal surface of the cathode. Now these metal atoms which are ejected, they will be collided with the, or they will come in contact with the inert gas atoms. So collision takes place between the cathode atoms and inert gas atoms, and both get excited, and they cannot remain in the excited state for a long time. They come back to the ground state. while coming back to the ground state, characteristic radiation is emitted. That is by cathodic element as well as inert gas atoms. And we will get a narrow spectrum of light predominantly containing the characteristic radiation that is by the element under test. That radiation is allowed to pass through the flame here. Okay. So cathode lamp consists of cathode made up of analyte element, and it is also made up of tungsten. Anode is made up of tungsten. Cathode is made up of analyte element. It is filled with inert gas such as helium, neon or argon under low pressure. When 300 to 500 voltage is applied across the electrodes, inert gas atoms they ionize and the ions get accelerated towards the cathode. That is making the cathode atoms to eject from the surface. That is called a sputtering. Now ejected cathode atoms and inert gas atoms they collide with each other as explained earlier and get excited to the higher energy states. After some time they come back to the ground state emitting narrow spectrum of light consisting of a radiation characteristic of the element under a test. Now monochromator role, you know, it splits the transmitted light into constituent wavelengths containing a wavelength corresponding to the element under a test, that is characteristic of the analyte atom. Filter isolates the wavelength characteristic of the analyte atom, and detector receives the transmitted light and converts it into electrical signal, and which is amplified and fed to the data processor where absorbance is recorded. So recorder gives absorption readings. Now procedure, how to do the experiment. First we have to prepare a standard solution, that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 ml of the given standard NaCl solution into different 25 ml standard flask, and all the solutions are to be diluted with distilled water and to be shaken well for uniform concentration. To given test solution in a 25 ml standard flask, add distilled water and shake well. All these things I have already explained in a flame photometry, something very similar. Now place the suction capillary of the instrument in the distilled water and set the instrument to 0. That is in this diagram. First the suction capillary to be dipped in distilled water and the instrument has to be recorded for 0 absorbance. And then place each standard solution in contact with the capillary, that is whatever solutions we have prepared, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 ml solutions, to be kept in contact with the suction capillary, and absorbance values are to be recorded, that is using sodium filter of wavelength 589 nanometer. Now place the suction capillary in the test solution and record the absorbance, and now after recording the absorbance, we have to tabulate all the readings, that is volume of the sodium chloride solution and absorbance values are to be recorded in the table, and we have to calculate the weight of sodium in the case of each of the standard solution, that is using the formula, that is 0.1 milligram is to be multiplied by volume of the solution. And then we have to plot absorption curve, that is a calibration curve, absorbance along y-axis and volume of NaCl solution along the x-axis. We get a straight line that is passing through the origin. Knowing the absorbance of the test solution, we can find out the concentration of sodium chloride solution, concentration of the sodium in the solution, or volume of the test solution, that is from the graph. This is how, corresponding to the absorbance, you have to find out what is the volume or a concentration of the solution. So by knowing the concentration or volume of the solution, we can determine, by knowing the volume of the solution, we can calculate what is the concentration of the solution. Now moving on to the applications of AAS. Now from using AAS, we can estimate the trace elements such as magnesium and zinc that is present in the biological fluid, that is like blood, urine, etc. Estimation of trace elements like copper, nickel, zinc in food products can be estimated. Estimation of lead and lead in calcium carbonate and petrol can also be estimated. And finally, we can also estimate elements in water supply, soil sample, effluents, ceramics, etc. Hope I have made the things very clear to you. In case if you have any doubts at any time, you can call and get your doubts clarified. As far as application part is concerned, it is enough if you know some of the main applications. As such, it is not included in the syllabus. Thank you.